Hello, good morning to United States and good evening from Dubai. Welcome in our very new series which is named Kahani. A Kahani means story of whatever it takes. It's true that everyone is having stories and all stories most probably not having any happy ending, but it doesn't mean that those stories are not worth telling. Everyone has a story and every story can teach us a lesson. It can give us a hope, it can change lives, and it can inspire other people. So this new episode where I'm bringing one of my special guests all the way from United States, let's listen that what is her story, what is story of today. So let's watch with Kahani, a story of whatever it takes with me, Adnan Sohail. Our guest of today is Taetrece Harrison. She is all the way from United States. She's an attorney who was wrongfully arrested because a stranger in the park approached her while she was in her hometown and then refused to leave her upon even her numerous requests. Somehow she was able to get rid of that person, but later the person called the police and he said that she pointed out a gun on her. 2 weeks later, she got arrested. In United States of America, racism against colored people is still there. So from judges' chamber to the country courthouse, parking lots, and everywhere, you can see that there will be significance of this thing. So let's talk and ask rest all the details with our guest of today, Taetrece, that how everything happened and how after that she managed. So welcome, Taetrece Harrison. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Adnan, for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you today.
Indeed, it's my pleasure, and I must appreciate your courage and your time to come on our show and give us this time and be ready to share your story with everyone. So please tell us about yourself. I have given a very brief introduction to people that will happen with you. But before talking about that particular incident, I want to understand who is Taetrece and where she grew up, what she has done, what kind of life she's having.
Okay, sure. I'm in New Orleans, like you said, United States, but I'm in Louisiana. I'm born and raised here in New Orleans. I am an attorney and a newly published author. I've been practicing law about 14 years. I kind of went to law school a little bit later. So I've lived all over. I lived like in Germany. I lived in Washington State, lived in Colorado, and also lived in Texas. And finally then went to law school and then returned home after being gone about 19 years.
Amazing. So places you have been to here and there, that's interesting. I loved going to other places and live. I wish like if I could move. But honestly speaking, Dubai, the place is having a lot of its excitement and its charms that it's been 10 years I'm living in the town and not even thinking to move out, though I wish to explore the world.
Right. I would love to actually thinking about moving to Dubai, shoot, because it sounds great. That's one place I haven't been.
It's an amazing place. And I wish that one day if you will decide to come here and to live here, you will be having amazing life. So I want to listen to you. What is your story? In this episode, we are just talking, and usually this series, we just talk about stories of people. Everyone is having some story to tell other. And I personally believe this thing that every story, regardless is the story coming from some celebrity or coming from a common person, there is something to talk, there is something to share with other people, there is some lesson, there is some hope, there is some inspiration which you give to youngsters as well as to the growing people from the same background as you are or people from any other part of the world. So tell us your story. What happened in that parking lot and how you got arrested?
So you kind of gave a little bit of it. What happened, I was at a legal seminar, and so I came out and I had a boot on my car. What that is if you're in the parking lot and your time expires, they put a boot on your car. And I think I had just missed the time by 15, 20 minutes. So I'm on the phone and I'm trying to get the people to come out to, take care of the boot. And before I know it, a man snuck up on me, When I turned around, he was like right in my face. He could have kissed me, and so it kind of course, it scared me. And so this whole thing happens between us, where I'm basically telling him to leave me alone. You know, go away. I'm on the phone, and he just will not leave. So after a long period of time, it seemed like forever, he finally leaves. But then he kind of comes back, and so at that point, I told him I'm a concealed carrier, which means I'm licensed to carry a firearm, so I can kill. And you have a process in order to do that. So I have it, and so I took the firearm and I put it on my dash. And so I tell him, look, you just need to go. So he finally leaves. I get in my car and I finally leave. And then 2 weeks later, I'm getting a knock on the door, 5 police officers, and they're telling me that he's told them this lie, that I pointed my firearm at him, and I get arrested. And so then I basically take everybody through the story of what happens. Wrote the book about what happens after my arrest and how the whole process of the trial to the trial, and then what happens in the trial.
I see. Yeah. So what was after that? Like 5 policemen, they came, they knocked their door. What happened after that? What did you face during the trial? What they asked you?
Well, I got arrested, and I mean, I'm an attorney, so I know better. So I didn't give any kind of statement. I got an attorney, and then basically what happens is it's a few months before I actually go to trial. I'm hoping that the DA is going to drop the charges and realize, that this guy is lying. But, to my surprise, the DA picked up the case and decided to go forward. They wanted me to do they wanted me to accept like a lower charge. So it was a felony charge. I was looking at serving 10 years in jail if I had been found guilty of this alleged lie. What the DA decided to do was to try to offer me something that was a lesser charge, by saying it was a disturbing the peace. But they wanted me to lie and say that basically I was having a bad day. Well, my problem with the whole thing was I wasn't having a bad day. I was in my car minding my business. A stranger approached me, and even the stranger himself told the police that I told him to leave him alone. So if he's telling the police that I told him that, then I don't even get to me getting arrested. And how do we get to a trial? You shouldn't get to a trial.
I see. So how long was this trial? So how long you have been through this? And I can totally understand that was a mental disturbance for you. You have been through this process. Though, as I can understand it, as an attorney, you might be seeing this situation on and off with people, but definitely with something is happening with you, it's different. So how long it remained with you?
So the incident in the parking lot happened September 28, 2017. I wound up going to trial January 31st, 2018. So, and to piggyback off of what you said, yes, it was a mental drain. It was very mentally draining to be put in a situation where instead of me defending somebody, I was defending myself over something that shouldn't have never gotten to this situation. The problem with the whole situation was, I think I was targeted because I was running for judge here in New Orleans. I think I also was targeted because I was considered the angry Black woman who should not have had a firearm. So I think a lot of scenarios was going on, and but a lot of it, I think it had to do with my race, because of the fact I dare you try to defend yourself. I think had I been, and other people have agreed with me, I think had I been of a different race, the situation wouldn't have gotten that far. If I had been a white woman in the parking lot by myself and defending myself, we wouldn't have had an arrest. He would have got arrested. And the thing is, that's what should have happened. When he called the police and gave this ridiculous story, and he told them that I said, leave me alone, then they should have arrested him. Because then the police should have told him, you should have left her alone. But that's not what happened. Because then I was the angry person that the cops were basically, well, the DA, the district attorney, was trying to play. But the problem with the whole thing is, if I was this angry they said that I was. And I was all upset with this. If I would have, if I wanted the gun at him, then I would have shot him if I was so angry. A calm person is going to tell you to leave and tell you go on your way. An angry person is going to be the person that shoots you. So he never got shot because I never pointed the gun because I told him to leave. None of that never happened. So it doesn't make sense that I'm angry, but I'm calm enough to tell him to leave. You can't have both. It's like, you know, it's like being a little pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. So you can't be angry and calm.
Is it something which you face often, or it happens just once in a while, and after that things are pretty much cool? It's a peace.
Right, right. I mean, the thing is, I was more concerned for my safety than basically angry. I wasn't. I got angry when I got arrested. That's when I got angry. But I was basically worrying about my safety. Now, I may not have acted like I was because I was trying to remain calm when I was dealing with him, but I was definitely, you know, scared. And the reason why I wrote the book that I wound up writing was because I wanted to talk about other women who had similar situations, basically dealing with racism, dealing with sexism, and dealing with, you know, all types of issues just because of the fact that people didn't like who they were, or either they felt threatened by who they were.
Exactly. That's the point which I wanted to now ask you that. So what was the point on which you thought that you need to be a survivor and not a victim? And then you conceived this idea to speak up on.
So one of the things was when I decided to go to trial, when they tried to give me something less, a lesser charge, to try to get me to plead guilty to something else, that's as I needed to and by going to trial, and then basically letting people know that they could speak their own truth and be true to themselves by basically standing up to the bully, because this was a bully. I'm getting feedback too. You're getting feedback.
Taetrece, I think so. There is some distortion in the line. I couldn't hear the last part, what you said.
Okay, I heard it too.
Good.
The reason why I went forward to the trial is because I wanted other women to know that they could stand. They needed to stand up for themselves and stand up in their truth, and not let themselves get bullied by somebody who's basically falsely accusing them of something that they didn't do.
I understood. Yeah, that's something which I really want, that those people who are watching us today, and especially our women there and at workplace, are in their, while even they are on the street, their own country, or when they are in a foreign country, I'm sure that they face this kind of harassment. They face bully at workplace, whether it's the active or it's passive harassment. So what do you think that, what do you want to advise to these especially young women who are growing up, who are going to see life in coming days? What do you want to advise to those people?
To if they face this type of situation or something similar, that it's okay to stand up, and it's okay to be by yourself if you have to. Now, I wasn't alone. I was alone in the parking lot, but when I stood for myself, I wasn't alone. My family was there. I had friends there. But even if you have to stand up by yourself, as long as you're standing in your truth and you know it's the truth, it doesn't matter when anybody else tell you. Stand up for yourself and believe in yourself and do what you have to do. If I was there and accepted a guilty plea of what the DA wanted me to do, then I would have basically said that it was okay for this guy to do what he did. And I couldn't do that. And that's the trial.
Right. And how this stigma, we can get rid of this thing when we're talking about people of color, especially living in those countries where these things are just surging up. How to get rid of this?
That's a good question. Conversation like this, letting people know what's going on, writing the book like I did, you know, making people aware I've had I've had a lot of people tell me that, you know, they were very surprised because of the fact that I am an attorney. They would, you know, they would think that things like this wouldn't happen to me. But the fact is, although I am an attorney, I still get subjected to racism. I still go into courtrooms where people are still asking me if I'm an attorney, and I'm having to pull out my credentials. I still have to explain over and over and over again, yes, I'm an attorney. Yes, you know, I am licensed. Yes, I am this. So even though I'm over in this position, I still get subjected to that just because of what I look like.
So why did you decide to write the book? Was this only this particular incident? There were a series of incidents which came accumulating, and it idea one day you thought that no, I have to now speak up, and what's the best way to write a book? How did this come in your mind?
So after my trial was over, a few months after that, I decided I felt like I wanted to have a voice for other people, and I wanted to see if there was other stories out there that was similar. And so that's how I basically decided. So around April or May of 2017, I started writing the book. It took me about 2 years to write it. And so that's how I started writing it. So I started with my story, but I found 4 other women's stories who were very similar. And that's how I came about writing the book.
So tell me something about this book, which you, its title was quite fascinating and interesting for me, and I wish like as soon as possible if I could read this book. Tell what's the name of the book and how the overall this project is going.
So the name of the book is called Bitch Hunt. And it's about 5 Black female attorneys, as I've stated before. The reason I came up with the name Bitch Hunt, it reminded me of witch hunt. And that was back in I think the early 1600s, or I think it was the 1600s or 1800s, when there were women in Massachusetts, the Boston area, who were accused of being witches, and they basically were burned by villagers who thought that they were practicing, you know, inappropriate things, witchcraft. So because of the fact that they were hunted in that same way, I wanted to write the book. I wanted the title to be similar, but because I was talking about Black females, I decided to call it Bitch, you know, B for Black. And so the name became Bitch Hunt.
Interesting. And you mentioned that that's the story of 5 along with you. And who are the other people? They are the co-authors, or those were just the subject and you heard their story and you put it, or they were the co-author of the book?
No, there was no co-authors. I wrote the book myself. So, you know, I researched each person, each of the other parties that's in the book, or the other persons in the book are Black female attorneys, and some of them are judges, and some of them are either were judge or some of them were candidates for judge. So, but everybody is an attorney and all of them are Black. So no, I did the research on each person and did my research, and then from that I gathered the story myself, and then I wrote the story as I felt that the story should be told.
Right. Okay. I will not ask a lot of details about the book because I want to leave a little bit suspense that people should get it. How they can get the book? Is it available on Amazon, or it's available in bookstores? How people can get this book?
So the book is on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, pretty much any of the online platforms. It's actually in the library system. So in Dubai, I think you could go to the local library and you could request the book, and I think they will ship it there. That's what I was told by my local librarian here. So you could actually get it at your local library as well.
Right. Interesting. So all those who are watching us, if they are interested to read the book and read that how these strong women who are having color, who are having a different situation, and they are with a good profile, they're attorneys, they're judges, or they ran for a judge. So if they had this kind of situation, it means that it may come to other one also, who are the common people, and how to get rid of this situation, how to come up and how to stand up in your favor. I'm pretty much sure that this book is going to help them a lot. So how is everything now? Is that now things are over, that bad day, bad episode is finished? or after that it's still going forward with you?
Oh, no. Once I went to trial, things were resolved, and you could read the book and find out what happened with that. I'll let people find out what happened with that. But I mean, the fact that I'm sitting here should give people an indication, what happened. But it's still better to read the trial so you can see how everything unfolded. How the guy basically was lying on the stand, and everything else that happened. Because even the trial itself was even more telling to the story, because it just kept like adding and adding and adding to everything, because you could tell that it was basically the reason why we were having the trial was not because of what this guy said, that there were some underlying reasons as to why the trial was going forward.
Right. And those people who are watching us right now, if they want to ask any direct question to Taetrece, she will be more than delighted to answer your question. Like if you have seen anything, faced anything in your personal life where you were bullied, harassed in school, in university, or at workplace, or just going in the street. So if you want to ask anything, if you want to speak with Taetrece, this platform is open for next couple of minutes. You can raise your question. So I'm having a lot of questions, but considering the limitation of the time, I will try to keep things quite brief. And at the same time, I do not want to reveal everything. I want people really to go and read every piece of the book, every piece of information to get from it, because I know that we cannot summarize everything in this 30 minutes episode. What are your words to live by now, if I want to ask you?
Like I said before, stand in your truth. I believe that people should stand in their truth, whatever that is, and do not be afraid to be whoever you are or whatever it is, and just believe in yourself and don't doubt yourself. I went through a lot. It was a lot. It was very trying. It was very mentally trying, even as an attorney, because I thought of so many different scenarios that could have went on, during this thing. But one of the things that helped me to get through it was meditation and also prayer. So, believing in God. I mean, some people may not believe in God, but whatever it is that they believe in, whatever that is that you need to believe in, but the one thing you need to do is believe in yourself, no matter what.
That's amazing, and that's a beautiful piece of advice to all people, that we cannot say that the world is going to be perfect where everyone will be peace and harmony, but we have to find out the way how we can stand up. And if most important thing is, which Taetrece is saying, that's to speak up. You need to identify what's the right time, what's the right channel, and what's the right approach to speak up. So whenever you see that someone is not giving you your rights and you are suffering, so stand up, speak up, and I'm pretty much sure that the community, your parents, your family, they're going to help you a lot.
Correct. Exactly.
Thank you very much, Taetrece. It was indeed a pleasure chat with you, and we wish you a great, peaceful life ahead. I will be able to read your book soon, and I'll give you my comments on that.
I appreciate that, Adnan. It was such a pleasure, and such a pleasure finally seeing you in person.
Definitely. So we all enjoyed your talk. We all enjoyed what happened in your story, and everyone who is watching us. Thank you very much, Taetrece, for your time, and we hope to see you again in one of the next episode when we will be able to read your book, and there will be more stuff to talk about that.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
Thanks. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this episode. If you have a story to tell and inspire other people, because it's my belief that every story, it can give a lesson, it can inspire other, and it can give hope to other people. So if you have a story, you can become our next guest. Thousands of people can hear you, your voice, your advice, your experience, and it can really make difference in the life of others. Keep watching. Thank you very much, and goodbye.